Here's a very, very easy way to learn your 7 chords. The Let's Enjoy Piano method focuses on page 15, shows you the 4 dominant 7 chords, or the 4 7 chords. The C octave, C major 7 is the next note down. The next note, half step below the octave, is the major 7, then the dominant 7 note, and then the 6. So if you took any octave chord and say that to yourself: F octave, F major 7, F7, F6, B flat octave, B flat major 7, B flat 7, B flat 6, E flat major 7, E flat octave, excuse me, E flat major 7, E flat 7, E flat 6. So you're walking it right down in half steps. The 8, the octave 8, the major 7, the 7, and the 6. Now if we look closer, the octave, if you take your root note and you put it in your left hand, you have the first inversion of E flat. And that's the best way to start learning your 7 chords, from the first inversion. Play the octave, drop the thumb down to the left hand. Now you have a first inversion. There's the 8, and here's the first inversion of E flat, and there's the major 7, of which you can see is a G minor chord. So a major 7 produces a G minor chord on the top. This is on page 38A, 7th heaven. And then drop it down again, E flat 7. There's the diminished chord, dominant 7, diminished, E flat diminished. And G diminished gives you an E flat 7, and then an E flat 6. There's really no plurality there. Though every 6 chord is a minor 7 in disguise. You took the 6 and put it at the bottom, but that's a story for another day. So just take the octave, C octave, and the Beatles did that with the song Something. They started with a C, the C7. So they use the C major 7 in the key of F, so that's correct. And that's how I learned my 100 years ago learned my 7 chords, by playing Something. Here's the B flat, resolves to whatever it resolves to, E flat there, it resolves to the 4th note of the key, the 4th chord of the key. But just learning your 7 chords, it's good to play something musical. And you can take A flat. You can play the full chord. There's a C minor at the top, and you can pull your hand back and see here's the full chord, and the top of the major 7 is a minor. Then drop it down to the dominant 7, and that's the diminished. Okay? So break it down in stages. I have my students think of an OT, O-T, one thing. Just think of one thing that you're doing. That's your OT. If you have 2 things, it's called a tot. Anyway, try to keep focused on, let's say, the 7th chord. Sit down for your practice session. Just do the octave chord, then drop it to the major 7, then to the dominant 7, and then to the 6. And just do that in root position, F, etc. G, G major 7, G7, G6. And then the next time you come around, break it down from C, break it down to the first inversion. Instead of the octave, put that in the left hand, the root, and just have the first inversion. Now you can break the first inversion down, and you can see the plurality easier. The plurality is the triad within the 7 chord, because the 7 chord, remember, has 4 notes. So C, there's no plurality. C is C, C, E, G, only 3 notes, C, E, G. Now we add a 4th note in. There's C major 7. And within the C major 7 is the E minor chord. And then the E diminished chord is a minor chord flatted 5. Just think in terms of the right hand plurality. The top of the chord is a triad. So even though C is here, it's a C major 7. If I did this in the bass, now it's an E minor chord. But as soon as I put C in the bass, it's now got 4 different notes, so it becomes C major 7. And then C7, and then C6. Okay, so make it interesting for yourself, but you have to know those 7 chords cold and the plurality within, so that eventually, when you do play a chord, a 7 chord, you want to lay out, let's say, a major 7 chord like this, so you have more fingers available. Or you flip the plurality, that's the stage 2, flip the plurality, E minor, but first inversion E minor. And that's a story for another day. Just get the root position and then eventually start flipping. Okay, I hope that helps you out. That is the focus on the layout of the 7 chord. Dominant 7, major 7. And we can enhance it in the next few videos. Okay, thank you very much.